name's Maddie, but I won't hold it against you. I also
Sorry.
I also just realized I'm the person standing between you and the wine. That makes me nervous. So more nervous, so let's make this fun, try to speed it up. Do any of you know what your response rate to email is today? Okay, just to make sure I'm asking the right question, to phrase it a different way, do you know how effective and I'm not talking about marketing emails actually, just emailing within the company, do any of you know how effective those emails are? Like, are you getting the appropriate responses back? Yeah, you're a pro, Megan. Okay, that's good. I lost my train of thought, guys. Sorry, I was thinking about wine. I really was. Okay, I'm back. So you can phrase emails two ways, or at least I do, and I've done actually some research on this myself. One is you can be pretty loquacious, and you can create quite a few paragraphs, and especially if there's something big you're emailing about, right? You're about to decide on the strategy, and you need 4 executives to buy in, and so sometimes you have to send an email out. You can be pretty loquacious, and you can create 4, 5, or 6 paragraphs, send it out. Or you can take another approach. You can be very concise. You can have 2, 3, 4 sentences. Really cut to the quick at what you're trying to prove, be targeted, be focused, and then have the ask in there. I've done it both ways and I've actually measured myself for a couple years now, and more times than not, I'm more successful when I'm targeted. I don't know if you feel the same way, but when I have a very short message, I'm much more successful. And I don't think this is a coincidence. I think there's 2 reasons why more concise, quick messages are successful. One, as a user, it's just easier to interpret, right? It's like a 3-bullet thing, and it's like, yes, no, whatever. That's it. The second is me as the prescriber of that note, I'm forced to be much more targeted. I'm forced to be cutting to the quick. I'm forced to get at what I'm trying to say. I think the reason I bring up this I know it's a random analogy about emails, but I think it flows into what I'm going to talk about today, which is building a digital product. You can take the same approach. Doing things lean, doing things more targeted, more focused, actually gets you better results. So there are a lot of keywords up on this slide here today, and I have a feeling that at least one of these keywords you feel you're responsible for, if not all of them, right? Big data strategy. How many people have this under their wheelhouse? Okay, at least a few. Need to prove your ROI. Everyone should raise their hand on that one. Everything that we're doing, right? We have to, if we want more money, if we want more autonomy to build campaigns or build products, we have to prove what we're doing is working. Growing sales. So growing sales, I think you're all either indirectly responsible for, or you're directly responsible for growing sales. Latest trends across the board. My favorite lately, I'm receiving emails that have embedded video content in them, like I'm sure you all are. And it's awesome. I don't even have to read anymore. I'm like literally getting lazier by the day. There's no more reading involved in emails. A new competition emerging. If you're in the grocery business like me, this is more fierce than ever. And I'll pretend you all just shop at Harris Teeter because you're loyal Harris Teeter customers, right? I'm sure you are. But we've got tons of brick and mortars opening up that were in regions that never used to compete with us. We've got folks coming down from the north. We've got folks coming up from the south. We've got people coming in that weren't even in our country. Lidl has just announced 2 locations. If you're in Shelby, Winston-Salem, they're open. They have 100 more targeted for the East Coast in the next 12 months. And then you've also got these digital players, right? Instacart, Shipt, what have you. A lot of online players that myself and my team are having to stay on top of and having to worry about. So it's all good. It's a really exciting time to be in digital, but it's also overload. It's very overwhelming. And you have to be focused, in my opinion, to get stuff done here. So while we have all the tools in our toolkit, while we have so much exposure, we have so many opportunities to capitalize, you really have to, if you're in a lean organization like myself, and I know a lot of you can relate to this, you have to pick your battles, and you have to pick what you're going to do this year, and you have to minimize the distractions. So research these, be aware of these, but really focus on what you're trying to deliver this year. So you're going to actually grow by doing less, in my opinion. First thing you got to do to make this happen is be ruthless. Patty Azzarello wrote a book called Rise. It's a really good book. If you haven't read it, you should read it. And she makes a statement that all of the senior level, all the C-level folks that she's interacted with throughout her career, they're successful by one thing, and it's they don't work on as many things as other people do. They have purposely picked 2, 3, 4 priorities, and they've left everything else on the backlog for later. So be ruthless. Have 2, 3, 4 priorities that you got to knock out, and leave the rest on the backlog for later. To do this, though, I know that's easier said than done. It's like, okay, whatever, Maddie, I have 20 things that my boss just asked me about. I do too, so I'm not pretending that doesn't happen. What I'm saying is this is a start. So set a meeting up with executive leadership and get them to recommit or regurgitate or create together your 3, 4, 5, whatever your size of your team is, create priorities for the year, and get them to say them with you. Because just right then, like some magic happened where they set the priorities as well with you in the room, and so you're like, great, we're just gonna do those. We're gonna focus, we're gonna knock them out. Have a list of projects that you're gonna work on for the year, and here's magic piece number 2. You're gonna draw a line. So you're gonna say, we're gonna meet every 3, 4, 6 months, whatever it is, and I'm gonna draw a line. Okay, so great, Bob, we've got 20. We can take on 4 right now. So what you just did is you just established your team's capacity without them even really saying, like, that's totally okay. You said, okay, so here's the line for the next 6 months. I've done it, it works, I promise. So there you have it, capacity, buy-in. If you already have the buy-in from leadership, so if you don't need to go through that exercise, then you're one of the lucky few, in my opinion. Keep it. And I would be proactive about setting touch bases with them every 4, 5, 6 months. Again, you can kind of decide on the cadence here, but set those touch bases up and make sure that they don't lose sight of what you're doing. And don't just come back to them and say, we did those 4, we're ready for the next 4. Come back to them with metrics. So tell them that you're only doing projects and show them too. So be able to articulate, here are the projects that we did for the priorities. And guess what? The first 2, we're not moving in the direction that you wanted, so we're gonna cut those and we're gonna bring 2 more in. But at least you're being purposeful, right, about what you're doing. And you're not just, hey, we did it. Let's wipe the hands. We're here to build superior customer experiences. We're not just here to say, I got 20 things done. By the way, that feels really good, I know. To have a task list and like cross it all off, like nothing gives me more pleasure at the end of the day than like looking at all the stuff I got done. That's on a daily level though. Be very focused on what you're trying to deliver. It's about the customer. It's about providing like the very best experience possible to that customer. And can you leave stuff on the backlog, right? So pick 3 things versus 10. You're gonna do those 3 things very well, and hopefully if you're as smart as I know you all are, and your executive leadership believes in you like I know they do, then you're only gonna be working on the top 3 things that matter anyway. So focus on those things, and leave the rest of the stuff on the backlog. I'll give you an example. One of our priorities for 2016 was Harris Teeter wanted to launch on-demand delivery. We didn't have it, and a lot of other competitors did, and we know we needed it. We believed in the prospect. I mean, we all get Prime orders. I do too. I'm not gonna lie. I love Amazon Prime. We believed in delivery, and our Harris Teeter customers, it was a good match. There was a lot of overlap between what a Harris Teeter customer looks like and what we thought the market looked like. So great. 2016, we're launching Uber Delivery. My team gets in a room, digital technology customer experience gets in a room with marketing, gets in a room with operations, gets in a room with customer relations. And I promise you, not 10 minutes goes by, and we've got like 20 markets up on the whiteboard of like where we're gonna go. And we're excited, we're gonna launch to everywhere and be everything to everyone. And I had to take a step back, and I said, guys, we don't even know if this is gonna work. Like, Harris Teeter customers may not wanna pay for on-demand delivery. They just may not want that. I mean, I think we're smart, we think they do, but let's be focused first. So thankfully at the end of the meeting, we decided on one market, one store in DC, and we said if it's not gonna work in DC, then it's not gonna work in Winston-Salem or Fayetteville, no offense if anyone's from Fayetteville, but it's not gonna work in Fayetteville if it doesn't work in DC. So be results oriented. Okay, second thing, be resourceful. And this isn't just me saying like, be resourceful, be cheap, kind of a little bit, but there's more to it than that. If you're a lean organization, again, you have to, one, use what you got. So use what contracts are already in place, or use free tools, or cheap tools, or sign up for 30 days. But two, even if you had all the money in the world, when you're building something innovative that you haven't proven if it's successful or not, why spend 60 days integrating in this awesome survey tool just to ask someone if they're gonna like the product? What can you leverage tomorrow to test this out? Hopefully you guys use Google Docs. I'm surprised by the people I talk to about Google Docs, and they're like, what is that? So Google Docs, anyone like live on those? Okay, me too. I built this PowerPoint in Google Docs. I didn't have to do anything, it was awesome. Use Google Forms. So when you have an idea like, hey, we're gonna provide, we need to know if we need to offer 1 hour delivery, 2 hour delivery, 4 hour delivery, what's the convenient level you're looking for? We created a Google form and sent it out to 100 associates because we can leverage our team and ask the question. So when you're in the process of building, use things that are, be resourceful, use little tips and tricks that you can. I'm about to show you an example of a prototype where we didn't have to do any development work, so we spent about a week, I think, building from start to finish, a week of drawing wireframes on a board, and this was for the new app update, drawing wireframes on the board, transferring them to high res, putting them together in a prototype tool, and showing customers. So another way to try to be resourceful. Oh, there's no volume, but that's okay. That's a good song.
One of the things I think you guys do, and if not, I'd like it, but I think you do it, it puts near the top of the list my past purchase. Yeah. So if I've bought eggs, like Eggland Best is what I normally buy by the dozen, it will usually show up when I'm in my profile. I think it'll show up first, and then all the other things that have egg, which goes everywhere from egg noodles to eggnog to eggs.
Yeah. I like that personalization.
I do, and I appreciate the filter. I use the filter a fair amount.
Okay.
So, mostly
by
you should
brand,
check.
or what do you think?
Sometimes by brand, more times for salt-free, organic.
Health.
Okay, the health one. That one's probably one of the ones I use the most.
Do you see a filter on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you know how you would get to the cart from here?
The little
Okay, cool.
thing there.
What do you think of this screen?
So just a quick little video to show you what we put together in a week. This was really fun. This was the first time we did live customer video. It was a lot of fun. Again, like it was on the when I say cheaper side, like less time intensive. That's what I'm trying to say. Less time intensive. The other cool thing about this is we did this for 4 days. We talked with probably 5 or 6 customers a day. And every day we were making design changes on the fly at night. Essentially, like at 5 o'clock, we'd spend about an hour. We'd change the design because we found some usability issues, and we'd show the new version. So by Thursday, what we're about to launch for the new app update is about 80% what we found out here. So just a really cool way to leverage your resources effectively and your customers too, right? Like they're excited because they're getting to take part in the design, and you're not having to fly to DC or fly somewhere and sit in the room for a week, which is really cool too. There's a time and a place for that, but building something, I'd recommend more of a grassroots version. so let's talk about adding the data strategy to building a product. Right when we decided, we got buy-in that we were going to launch Uber delivery, we immediately set the vision. Right, it went from like 20 markets to like 5 markets, so let's just do one store. Let's not be too crazy. To one store. And so we had a few success metrics for that. One was have seamless ops. 2, we wanted our customer OSAT score, our customer satisfaction score, to be higher than anything we've ever done digitally, which is like over 90% or 92%. And 3, we wanted customers to be able to build a cart and check out in 15 minutes. So those were our thresholds. Oh, I'm sorry, and 4, we actually needed orders. So we wanted 100 orders a week to say this first test was successful. So those were our 4 metrics. And the reason that's important with here and with data is because in order to accomplish metric 3, which was placing an order in 15 minutes, we had to add in screen tracking. So we had to add in customer signs in, customer selects a store, customer adds to the cart, and then customer checks out. So that's kind of how we had the flow. That's kind of how we were going to measure, can you do this quickly? So by having that lean data strategy, because we didn't capture everything, I promise you, I couldn't even tell you what a delivery customer had in their basket. I could tell you how big it was, but I couldn't tell you what it comprised of. Not yet. What we found out was that we had a huge issue with collecting address. I'm using the laser pointer. Somehow, when we were sending the data to Google to validate the address, we were having like requirements on like the specific way you capitalize street and northeast and all that stuff. So we had a 70% drop off of customers that were actually trying to use delivery, which was like, I guess it depends on how you look at it, right? Like horrible, let's cry because this product isn't working, but great because we caught it really early on. So as you can see, less than 3 weeks later, we launched a fix for it. Had we not had that tracking in, we would have had like 10 orders for the first month and not even know what had happened. We would have been like, well, this doesn't work. Try it, delivery is not gonna work, it's just not for us. So yeah, have a lean data strategy there. I get this question asked a lot, and it's a good argument that I have with the team all the time is data and opinion. When do you leverage the data? When do you leverage opinion? And I don't think there's a black and white answer. There's really not like a yes or a no. If I had to give an answer, I would say use opinion at the front when you're setting the vision, when you're setting your strategy for the year, when you're setting the vision for your product. Use opinion there. And then use your guts, right? Like you're smart. You've built this brain capital. Use your opinion when you're putting together your first hypothesis. Our first one was customers want a delivery in 2 hours. They don't want it any longer than that. That's really the longest they're willing to wait. The data is going to prove it. So use your smarts to hypothesize. It's okay if you're wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Use the data to validate, though. Are you right or are you wrong? And you can do that in a couple ways. User feedback sessions. Hopefully you're all doing those. Surveys, in-app feedback, website feedback, social media feedback. Also the data. Like you don't have to actually hear the customer to see, right, their flow. They're abandoning their cart or they're really having a problem with your store locator because they drop off or they spend like 10 extra seconds on it. It doesn't make sense. So leverage the data to hear your customers. I believe you can run, when you're building an innovative product, a new product, and you're really trying to find out as quick as possible, is this going to succeed? Is it going to fail? That is your mission, by the way. Will it succeed? Will it fail? You can run it lean. There's 4 steps to it. So the first one is prioritize it. So again, set those metrics early on. We had 4 for Uber delivery. And it helped us objectively argue. And I hope you're arguing a lot in your meetings. One, it's more fun because no one just wants to sit there for an hour and like stare at each other. It's much more fun to stand up and get excited and make arguments. But it doesn't have to be like mean arguments. Like you've got to establish a level of trust. But make sure you're arguing in your meetings. That's what's going to bring the product to the next level. And you're going to like each other more. I promise. You're going to have more fun. Isn't that what it's all about? So set metrics, leverage prototypes, Paper mock-ups, again, the prototypes, the video I showed you, can you draw stuff out? We've done that before too. Literally drawn something on a piece of paper and showed it to the person that sat beside me at the time and was like, I don't know, what do you think? And I got decent feedback. So build it. Build it is the smallest column up there, and that's like extremely purposeful. MVP, minimum viable product. It's the first iteration of what you're building that you're about to launch to customers. Try to make this as small as possible. Try to make this quality. So don't sacrifice quality. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying when you have all these features, you got to cut it somewhere. We were about to launch delivery, and someone was like, Maddie, shouldn't we add recipes? Like, don't delivery customers want recipes? And I was like,